So let's talk about Ja Morant. So Ja Morant is currently in trouble, not once but twice for brandishing a gun on social media. The first time he got in trouble, I think he got suspended for like 6 games or a little bit more than that. This time around, they suspend him from team activities. So, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do, obviously going further, because I mean, obviously the Memphis Grizzlies are out the playoffs, so they don't have to really worry about that right now. But they're just trying to figure out what they want to do in terms of punishment. But we're not talking about that right now, right? Let's talk about. I want to talk about the lessons learned from that, because obviously all of us we all may not be superstar athletes, maybe top performer celebrities or whatever, but we all have like responsibilities in our community, around our in our community, our friends, our families. We all have some level of responsibility, especially when it comes to our work. So there's some lessons that need to be learned in terms of like how to deal with this, right? So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the lessons that lessons that you should learn from this situation, because we all have responsibilities in our daily lives. So let's first talk about responsibility. Now, a lot of people are talking about how, we have our Second Amendment rights. He has a right to own a gun, this and that. No one is questioning that, right? We all know he has the right to have a gun. That is not even the issue. That's not the question. The problem is he's handling a gun irresponsibly. That's what it is. If he was like at a gun range, right, equipment at a range in a structuralized facility, and he was shooting a gun, there'd be no issue. Maybe the NBA wouldn't want it because of optics, but he wouldn't be in trouble for that. Maybe if he was hunting, right? If he had his hunting suit on, he was in the forest doing some hunting, I don't even think they'd have a problem with that. But the problem is he's being irresponsible with the gun. And this is important because he's not just an athlete, he is a professional athlete. And the key word is professional, right? He's within a corporate structure where he has certain obligations, certain responsibilities to uphold as a professional athlete. He can't just do what he wants, right? He has to conduct himself within the parameters of corporate structure, whatever it is, like in a professional manner. And obviously, like when you're talking about, and that's important because obviously people cut his checks, right? He may not think, like a lot of people like to think that these athletes aren't role models. You are, whether you like it or not, you are a role model. And the reason why these corporations, these NBA leagues, these sponsors, they cut a check is because you're representing their brand, right? They know you have influence over other people. So whether you like it or not, you are a role model. And the checks that you cash verifies that. So even though a lot of people like to say like you can do whatever you want, you can't. Like you're working within that corporate structure, you had to adhere to certain rules. And it also doesn't help that you got in the video you're playing rap music with holding a gun to your head. That's just it's a negative perception. Whether you want to call, you can say whatever you want about it. People don't want that type of influence based on representing their brand. Right, and if you're gonna cut that check, if you're gonna cash that check, then you have to adhere to these rules, right? Whether you like it or not, whether you could call all types of nonsense like, oh, it's not fair. If you cash those checks, then you have to abide by these rules. And it doesnn't look good that you're in this video playing rap music with the gun to your head. It just doesn't look good. And companies don't want you representing the brand. So you gotta bear some responsibility with that. If he was being responsible with the gun, he wouldn't be in the trouble that he is. It's all about that's the biggest thing. He's being irresponsible, and it doesn't look good optically. Now the second lesson is you gotta be mindful who you associate yourself around, right? Now obviously he was in the video with one of his friends, and look it, man. I don't know. None of us know who that person is, but I think we all come to the conclusion that that's probably not the person you should be around. That's probably not a good friend, because if you're around a high profile athlete that has so much to lose, you need to make sure that he is not in a position that's going to hurt himself. Obviously, the responsibility is up to him. But if you're a friend, like me personally, I would make sure to never put my friend in a situation where it could jeopardize his job, jeopardize his contract, jeopardize whatever it is that he does, right? Especially being such a high profile person, you can't put yourself in a situation where it's going to jeopardize your money, right? And me as a professional athlete, for me personally, I would make sure someone that has so much to lose, I would make sure to never put myself around people that could jeopardize what I have, right? Because you have so much responsibility, man. You got families to feed, you got the friends that are around you. They got so many people that rely on you, rely on what you're doing, right? That you're feeding other people, that you're probably hoping giving people's jobs, and you have so much responsibility in terms of just making sure people are doing okay, and to risk that. You question like the people that's around him, right? Obviously, like the people around him, like who is around him saying like, yo, you can't do this, right? This isn't a good idea, right? I would be the first person like, yo, I wouldn't be putting up a camera knowing that he has a gun in the car and then putting it on live, making sure like, hey, look at what's going on, playing rap. It doesn't make sense. It's not you as a professional. You gotta. You're held to certain standards, right? And it's okay to have fun. No one wants to take away the fun that you're having, but you got to be more responsible. You got to have better people around you, because obviously that person is not looking at your best interest, right? They clearly are not looking at your best interest at heart, and you have to do a better job of making sure you're around better people. So the next lesson is life is about choices, right? As hard as it may be to hear this, if you're someone that's not where you want to be in life, it's probably because of choices you made in the past. Now, like I said, that might be hard to hear. People might want to be like, no, X, Y, Z is because of this person, because of that, because this happened to me. Sure, whatever reason, right? Whatever reason. But if you look back and say, all the choices that you made that led you up to where you are now, it's probably because of choices you made in life. And like I said, I know a lot of people may not want to hear it, but for a lot of people, that's usually what it is. And you can see that with Ja's situation. All this issue that he's going through is self-inflicted. No one's doing anything to him. These are the choices that he's making, right? And like I said, I don't know anybody else's life, anybody's serious, but if you can go back, if you can really look inward and say, all right, where am I at right now? Am I happy? Am I satisfied where I'm at? Am I at a good job? Whatever it is, whatever your situation is. If you're not, then you could look back and say, what choices have I made that led me to where I am right now? And Ja's in that same situation. Money he's losing. All this negative press that he's getting, these are all self-inflicted. These are all choices that he's made. He decided to put the gun in the air, brandish the gun on social media. These are all things that he did. He didn't not once, but he did it twice. So these are choices that he's making. So anything that comes forward, obviously that's going to be on him. He can't blame anyone else. Can't blame no system. He can't blame anything. Everything that happens is because of the choices that he made. So that's something that we all need to understand. And especially when it comes to our own situation, look back and say, all right, where am I at now? It's probably because of choices I've made in the past. Now, the fourth lesson is not everyone is meant to handle success, right? Like success, there's a lot of responsibility when it comes to success, right? There's so many people that depend on you, like I spoke to earlier. Like there's a lot of people that depend on your friends, family, your teammates, organization, companies. There's a lot of responsibility, and not only that, but you're trying to live up to the expectation of being a superstar athlete, right? And for this, it's a lot of pressure on a lot of people. Like no one denies that. No one denies like being a superstar, being a professional athlete or whatever, celebrity is an easy job. But it's a job that you signed up for, right? Like you understand the expectations. And for a lot of people, some people just can't handle it. Like one person, I'm not a big fan of LeBron James, but he's done a great job of handling the pressure that's put on him, right? He's a great example of like so much pressure. He's been able to handle that throughout his career. Hasn't gotten in any trouble. So that's something you got to respect, regardless if you like him or not. And for a lot of people, some people just can't handle it, right? And maybe Ja Morent is one of those people. We don't know. We don't know how he's going to get through. We hope that he gets through this and becomes a better person and figures this out. But we all understand that for success, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stress. When people get a lot of money all at once, I mean, for a lot of people, it's difficult to handle, right? And not everybody's meant to handle that. So it's good to have, it's important to have people around you to help guide you and mentor you and make sure that you're on the right path. But for him, clearly he seems to be on the wrong path, and he doesn't seem to be able to handle that kind of pressure, that kind of stress, and everything that comes with being successful. So, like I said, man, for a lot of people, like some people want that lifestyle of being rich, famous, and being successful, but when it comes down to it, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility that comes with being successful. Now, the last lesson is be yourself, right? We can see with Ja, anyone that's watching Ja, man, he's throwing up gang signs, he's throwing up the guns. It's almost like he wants to be some sort of gangster. And if anyone knows Ja Morant's background, we know he's everything but a gangster, right? He comes from a 2-parent household, which is a good thing. We need more of that. But we all know that he's come from a very, hopefully, stable environment where he didn't have to worry about, or hopefully worry about gangs and being in any trouble in that sort of sense. But yet we see him now, especially when he has this money to success, and he's just throwing up all type of gang signs as if he's in the gang. And we all know that's not his background. He's not this tough guy. He comes from a 2-parent household, and he's come from a very stable environment. And it's almost like he wants to be something he's not, and that's the problem. Like, he's trying to be something he's not, and everyone can see it. It's very obvious. We all know he's not from the streets, and that's and people wonder, like, why is he trying to do that? Why is he trying to be something he's not? And I think it's important for us to all be ourselves, and that's important, right? Because why would we try to be something we're not? And we understand, like, growing up as a kid, that you look at media and everything, and you try to fit. We all want to fit into a crowd. And we understand that, like, as growing up, we all want to be able to fit into a group of people because we all want to be accepted into a group. But for him, being a professional athlete, he's at the top of society in terms of just income, wealth, status. So why does he want to associate with himself with something that's beneath that, right? Like, why would he want to do that? So it's sad to see that he's going through that and him trying to be something he's not. We all know that. He's an athlete. We want him to be that high-flying superstar athlete that's just dunking on people, right? And he's trying to be something he's not. And it's obvious that everyone sees that. He tries to be this tough guy, and he's not that guy. And that's okay, right? You don't need to be this tough guy. But him being something he's not is it's obvious to everyone, and it's not a good look. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave it down below. Hit the like button and share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe, right? So you guys take care and have a good one. Later.